and also working as an evaluation panel member of the Marie Curie Fellowship. I think he is one of the Indian who is in the committee of that.
So, good afternoon, participants, and good afternoon, respected Nanasaheb Thurath sir. We are about to start today's third session, that is interface of photonics for health approach. We have for this session a renowned researcher, scientist, Dr. Nanasaheb Thurath from University of Oxford to guide us about this approach. Now I request one of our participants and friend of mine, Dr. Kamlakar Shivalkar sir, to introduce today's resource person for this session, Dr. Nanasaheb Thurath sir. Kamlakar Shivalkar sir, please.
Okay, thank you, Yadav sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, today is a great day. Within us, Dr. Nanasaheb Thurath is with us, and as you give me his biodata, when I see his biodata, I really impressed, because as I seen his age, he is younger than us, and he has number of fellowship awards and number of papers, research papers, and he visited more than 10 countries. So when I see this, yeah, really I'm impressed. And now I introduce Dr. Nanasaheb Thurath to all of you. He is one of the researcher, eminent scientist, and as you've seen his research experience, he has 5 years of research experience, 3 years of teaching experience, and he has published more than 50 papers through international journals, peer-reviewed international journals with impact factor more than 1.5, and he registered patent, international patent, one international patent, more than 3 books he has published, and more than 10 chapters through book. And the main thing which I was impressed with, that he has a citation more than 2000, and H-index, H-index 29, H-index is also there, and he has given too many times keynote speech through a number of conferences, workshop, and he is giving the invited talk more than 10 times. And when I give his brief introduction, it's a short introduction which I was impressed when I see that first. So now I give the brief introduction. Dr. Nanasaheb Thurath is an outstanding experienced researcher currently working as a Marie Curie Fellow at the University of Oxford Medical Science Division. Dr. Thurath demonstrated the extraordinary ability of independent thinking, leadership, time management, and communication qualities throughout his doctoral research and Marie Curie Fellowship. Dr. Thurath is a two-time winner of world most prestigious fellowship. Yeah, this is very important. He has awarded, or he win that Marie Curie Fellowship 2 times, and also working as an evaluation panel member of the Marie Curie Fellowship. I think he is one of the Indian who is in the committee of that panel, evaluation panel, Marie Curie Fellowship for life and engineering sciences. In the year 2019, he was the panel member in 2019. Dr. Thorat has published more than 50 peer-reviewed journal research papers and articles, 5 books, 10 chapters through different books. He has presented 5 keynote speech, and I told that 10 number invited lectures, but here there are the 15 invited lectures and 5 oral presentation at prestigious scientific peer conferences in Singapore, France, Germany, USA, Ireland, Poland, South Korea, and India. And he received international acclaim and award for research contribution, generated research fund excess of euro 750,000 or near about 6.5 crore. He supervised students for PhD, junior researchers, and actively participated in outreach and scientific dissemination for the service of wider community. Dr. Thorat is the first Indian awardee of the European Commission Innovation Radar Grand Prix of the Innovation Radar Prize 2020. He also win that Grand Prix of the Innovation Radar Prize 2020, which is a recent in this year, and many other national and international acclaims on his name. Dr. Thorat is also the winner of the prestigious fellowship, including the Japanese Society for the Promotion of Sciences Fellowship in Japan in 2017, BBC Outstanding Fellowship, Israel and Israel 2016, and also work as a senior research fellow at Samsung Biomedical Research Institute, South Korea for 2014 to 2015. At the University of Oxford, he is working in the medical science division jointly with the engineering science division. His current research work involves designing new light activated nanomedicine therapy and Raman imaging techniques for brain cancer of pediatric patients. That is for small childs. And with this, also I in his biodata few things. He's a UK Global Talent Visa. He got UK Global Talent Visa for 5 years, and at the last, we are very much honored because he is from or Maharashtra. He did his undergraduate Bachelor of Science BSc in 2003 to 2006 from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He also did his master degree from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, and he did doctorate from D.Y. Patil University, Kolhapur. And really, we are proud about Dr. Thorat for being with us, and we are grateful. We all participants, including me, are grateful for inviting such an eminent personality at FDP program for guiding us. So we are grateful to our friend Dr. Yadav sir for inviting such an eminent personality. So now I requested Dr. Thorat to continue the session. Yadav.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Nanasaheb Thorat sir to start his invited talk. Thorat sir, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for such a nice introduction. And I would like to thank Professor Yadav, sir, and principal of the college for inviting and giving me the opportunity to be present with the core physics community. So I'm sharing my Just a moment. So, sir, yeah, now you can see the screen. Yeah. Sir, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So such a great opportunity to be with a physics community, core community. So I was a physics degree holder, but from last 7 years, or let's say from last 10 years, I'm more or less out of from physics background and on the interface of physics, chemistry, and biology, and now more in the medicine. So it's my great pleasure to be with them as it is my core specialty. So thank you very much once again, and I would like to start my presentation. So I'll be talking on the how this photonics is changing the world in technology. So all we are aware about that from every field of technology is now dominated with the photonics. But what about the health? And you'll be surprised after my presentation that how light is our daily how it is controlling our health and how it is helpful to our health to solve the health problems. So with a great pleasure, I'll start my presentation. I work in the University of Oxford. So Oxford is in the UK. UK is now part of the European Union, and it is leaving the European Union from next year, but still it is in European Union. And I work in the medical science division, especially my core is in engineering science, but I'm affiliated with the medical science. The SuperBrain, this is our project that is funded by the European Commission. And we are working on the enhancing brain cancer therapy of small children, especially from 0 to 5 years. And central nervous cancer system, we are working on the diagnosis, therapy, and therapy monitoring part. I will come later on what we are doing on this part. So this is all about the Oxford. So Oxford is very famous now, and I hope more than 100 million Indians, so 1 billion Indians, they know about the Oxford because of vaccine. I will come to the end of this presentation, so I will answer your question. So Oxford is a university. Most of our Indian universities, they have campus-based. Means every university has their own campus outside city or somewhere in the city. But Oxford is not a campus-based, so they have everywhere in the whole city. So Oxford is a city, and the main university, their departments, Oxford has affiliated around 25 renowned colleges. So they all over the city, and this is kind of a city with the university. And these are old buildings. They built in 500 years ago, 400 years ago, and all still they are very good condition, and many colleges, many departments are there. So our department, actually our lab is not in the Oxford city, it is outside the city. It's a new spin-off lab. Oxford, it has a very prestige in the world. It is one of the old university in English-speaking world. And it has, you'll be surprised, more than 40 prime ministers, different countries' prime minister from Oxford University. Till now, more than 80 Nobel laureates from Oxford University. And even near to my department, there were 2 departments or 2 labs. They have Nobel laureates, and they are, we usually see them in the galleries every day or sometimes. And here we don't have a lockdown for universities and schools. They are operating in normal condition. Just we have to be clear about the social distancing and others. So this is briefing about the Oxford University, and I actually work in this kind of lab environment. So they have technology transfer unit, and I work in there. So after this, I will come to my funding source. So I get funded from the European Commission. Though I am in Oxford University, I get paid from the European Commission. And European Commission is a bureaucratic body of the European Union. European Union is the political body of the 28 countries, and now UK is leaving from the European Union next year. That is called the Brexit. But anyway, still we are getting funded from the European Commission, and I will be funded till the 2022 from European Commission. This is a headquarters of European Commission, which is in the Belgium, and I have been there many times, and I work for the European Commission Cooperation in Science Action. So I usually go there for many meetings and events. All scientific activities are run by these offices. Now let's come to the very basic to our today's talk, how photonics interface with the health. So as you are the physics community guys, so you know more than me about the photonics because it is core physics part. So photonics is just using the light for our purposes like technology or some transmission manipulation. Usually photonics is now a part, usually it is now dominating electronics. So till the 1990s or the last century, it is dominated by the electronics, and now this century will be dominated by the photonics. So all electronics application now converting into photonics. After the great research and more discoveries in the quantum mechanics and quantum physics, electrodynamics, photonics is evolving. New properties of light and technologies are discovered. So as we know that photonics is dealing with the light, and light, very interesting properties. So light is energy, light has a radiation, light has a wave, so it is a dual particle. And light, interact with the materials and structures, even with our body. So we use all these forms every day for every application, from mobiles, from different cameras and TV and screens. So everything is now dominated by the light. From our, what we eat, it is actually a light. So you will be surprised that what plants they absorb the light, they generate the food for us, and it is our food is nothing but the light. Not out of 100%, I would say more than 85% what we eat, it is a light, and then rest is the oxygen and nitrogen and carbon. So what light and how it is dominating us in real world. So light everywhere, it is playing vital role in our daily lives. Light comes to from the sun. So we have the only source of the light is sun, but there are many other sources. So sun is the prime source for us, and the other sources are very far for us, so we can't get enough light from them. But our major source is the sun. Light enables plants to synthesize foods, and that food actually we eat. Even the animals or those are non-vegetarians, they also have the same source. Light has a fuel of economic growth of engine. So it is now dominating the many industries and many technologies. So it is a economic engine of our world. And you'll be surprised now photonics innovation will continue the economic growth for next century, and annually around $7 to $10 trillion. So it is, I would say, the twofold than our economy, our country's GDP. It is dominated by the photonic industry. What photonics, how it is evolved? So photonics is nothing but the science, that application of light, and we are controlling the light applications for detection and for many applications. And it started from the discovery of Newton's laws about the light, and when he discovered that light it's actually as a white light, but it consists with the different light sources. And then the electromagnetic laws were discovered. And then in the last century, many other discoveries were coupled with the light technology. What is the future? So actually, future of the light or the photonics is really impressive. So it's in just from last 10 years, just only for some products. I'm not talking about the other industries. So we already have around $10 trillion industry, but the products are around $2 to 6 trillion. So they are in the market, and more than 50 countries are in business, and India has a great chance, though we are still dependent on the European and Japanese technologies for photonics, but we have a great chance to be translate from electronics to photonics, because this will be dominating the world. Let's come to the very basics about the photonics. So it starts with the electromagnetic spectrum, and when we go into the basic physics, so light is a part when we deal with the wave, consider the wave. So physics is a measurement of science. So we don't care about the matter, what is matter and what's their chemistry. We care about the energy. We care about the measurement. So the light, if you consider is a matter, we have to measure it, and its measurement is the wavelength. So when we compare the light, it has a different scenarios from visible that we can see, but apart from visible, there are a lot that we are using, but it's not, we can't see. So like infrared, they are the dominating all photonic applications. Ultraviolet is especially used in the health application. X-ray is mostly dominated in the medicine. Somewhere gamma rays now in cancer therapies. Microwaves and radio waves, they are dominating the mobile industry and the telecommunication industry. So when we compare the light their with the their measurement with our daily life, so like radio waves, they are very high wavelengths but low energy or frequency, while the infrared is mostly, I will be talking more on the infrared, because in the health infrared is the main constituent of light which is used. The best fundamental mechanism that we use in the light is the interaction of light with the human body. So when we come to the human body, means it is our skin. So to be or the photonics that need to be designed for healthcare, we have to first consider how it interacts with the skin. So generally, when the wavelength goes increasing, there is a more chances that it can be more penetrated in the body. So the apart from the ultraviolet, which is very dangerous for the human body, so we don't care or we don't consider them in the health application. But visible and infrared is most useful spectrum for health application. Even visible is not so much applicable because it does not have more in-depth penetration in the human body or the skin. But infrared has higher penetration depth. They can go even some millimeter to centimeter in the skin, and they can absorb, they can scatter from the human body, and all these basic physics phenomena are being used in a technology of health. So what type of technologies are the applications of photonics in healthcare? So especially they are now dominated by the therapy, or this is a future of our photonics in the healthcare. So like photothermal therapy, so activating some photosensitizer materials under the light, so they can generate heat or generate some reactions to kill cancer cells or bacteria. or some generating oxygen or extra oxygen in a small cells. So they can even kill the cancer cells. That is a photodynamic therapy. This is a new photobiomodulation. So where we can modulate the cell properties, or we can modulate the DNA properties. So this is another good example of how light is used in the healthcare, especially photonics. I will be more focusing on the how light, especially deal with the nanotechnology, and in the in the healthcare application, the nanotechnology is dominated under the nanomedicine. So all the nanomaterials, we call it is a nanomedicine. So they are inorganic materials, they are organic materials, they are biomolecules as well, like protein, DNA. So they have very good interaction with the light. So these are now next I will focus on the nanomedicine and the light interactions. So when light materials interact with the matter, so according to our physics, so we have different phenomena. So they might be scattered. So scattering has different properties than elastic scattering. They have multiple scattering. There is non-linear, linear scattering. I had a physics for till the MSc, and I have quantum physics, electrodynamics, but I'm not expert in the more or less in the pure physics, and so I will be not going to be in the depth of these all phenomena. And you are the physics community, so probably you may know more about these phenomena. But I will just go, I will shed the light on this. So how scattering phenomena is used. Scattering is both elastic or non-elastic, is used for diagnosis and imaging. While the indirect interaction of the light with the matter, that is absorption, especially, it is used for the therapy and surgery. So this is photothermal therapy, photochemical therapy, or a generation of photochemical materials, or the extra oxygen in the cell. When we talk about the spectroscopic things, so like their interaction with the matter, so photoacoustics, fluorescence, all these phenomena are used in the diagnostic and imaging, and these all our daily routine. So especially many, even I would say, the viruses we can detect using the scattering phenomena. Raman scattering technology is now being developed to detect the viruses, especially viruses. We have different type of viruses or bacteria, but specific detection is still difficult, and still we rely on the chemical reactions or biochemical pathways for detection. So we are using RT-PCR or these recently developed short time kits. So they all are chemical now. But maybe next year or after some time, we'll see some scanners like a laser pointer. So we can just throw it in our nose or in our throat, and we can detect there is a virus or bacteria easily. When we deal with the human body, we have to deal with the light and their interaction. So especially the near infrared window of the light is more dominating, because they have more absorption in the human, or every material in the Earth's surface, they have more absorption for the near infrared. And when we get absorption, we can trigger the energy in physics terms. So when we trigger the energy, when we get the energy of the system, or when we perturbate the system, then we can understand the system more. And that's why the near infrared is more dominating in the healthcare. So they are used for the fluorescence imaging, so just exciting the molecules or the elements, atoms from lower energy state to higher energy state, and then according to physics laws, they will come to again ground state with some energy transmission, or some energy that will be generated. So it might be in the form of extra photon, it is might be in the form of heat, that is the photothermal therapy. I will come to these all in my next slides. Well, my expertise are divided into two applications. So one is cancer therapy and one is infectious diseases. So infectious diseases are mostly from bacteria and viruses. So we don't work on the viruses, but we work on the very dangerous bacteria, like they are drug resistance bacteria. Those are in the hospitals or in our community. But my core is on cancer from last 10 years, from 2010, from my starting to PhD. I more focus on the cancer therapy. And cancer is still a dominated disease in the whole world. Though coronavirus is here, but I would say coronavirus will be for next 1 year when the vaccine or the other drugs will be. But the cancer will be dominating forever. And it is from last, we don't know the history, but it is around from last 1,000 years. When we compare the cancer diseases for men and women, in men, especially lung cancer, prostate cancer are dominated because of their habit and all the environmental factors. In women, breast cancer, cervix cancer, ovary cancer are dominating. Now in India, colon cancer is dominating in men and women because of our food habit and the chemicals that we eat. So, and breast cancer is the most dominated in women. Well, when we come to the key facts about the cancer, so you'll see, around 1 million deaths were occurred by coronavirus in the world, but the twofold higher deaths were occurred by cancer in the same duration, but we are not focused on that. So you'll be now we understand how cancer is dangerous than this coronavirus or others. And you'll see so very interesting about the cancer and what is the basic difference between this cancer and viral infection. So once we have the virus infection like coronavirus or the flu viruses or the polio viruses, once we get infected and once we get cured by the treatment, we have certain chances like 99% it will never come back. So we can't get reinfected with the same virus. Some flu viruses, they get reinfected because of their mutation, but the coronavirus or other, we can't. But it exactly opposite to the cancer. So when we have a cancer, when we go to the hospital, we get cured. We almost, doctor says it is 100% cured. There is a 99% chances cancer will come back after 6 months, after 1 year. And that is the drawback of the cancer. So in the recent time, many celebrities were died with the cancer, and they died because of the cancer grown in a reoccurred. So when they treated somewhere in the USA or somewhere in London, and doctors said that, oh, your cancer is gone, but it is growing somewhere in the body. It is hidden somewhere, and they died in the second wave. We call it a second wave of cancer, and that is the hurdle of cancer therapies. And this, using the light or the physics, we are trying to cure these things. We are evolving in therapeutic part and diagnostic part. So I will go just a very short video where you will introduce for the cancer. So we'll get in the presentation and he'll, so because I suppose most of them are the physicists. So just as a basic introduction, I will introduce the cancer, how it is grow in the body. So cancer is still dominating everywhere in every country. Now, what therapies we are using? So you are aware about these all therapies. So in local therapies, we use the surgery. If it is accessible, like breast tumor or some tumors, they are accessible for surgery. Radiation is, for every tumor is now treated, except some child brain cancers. The radiation is used. Chemotherapy is used for every cancer, but it is not useful as other like hormone therapy. Hormonal therapy is now going increased, and the targeted therapy, that is where we are working. While the progress of the cancer therapies are from last century, early of century, when some new radionuclide materials and technologies were evolved. So radiotherapy was dominated till 1950, 1960. And after discovery of many pharmaceutical drugs, chemotherapy is dominated. And now from the 2010, targeted chemotherapy or targeted therapies are dominated. And all these targeted therapies now deal with the physics. So with the different type of physics laws we are using to target materials inside the body. So these are drugs mostly. So still now we have surgery, we have radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is most expensive therapy. So still it is in the, not everybody can afford this, but all these others they can afford. Nanoparticle based therapy is in the research level. Some drugs are in the market. So the Moderna, who is discovering the company who discovering the vaccine from USA. The Moderna is established by the Robert Langer, and Robert Langer is an engineer. He is the world's top cited scientist. So his citations around 500,000, means 5 lakh citations he got. And he first discovered the nanoparticle-based drug delivery system. And I was fortunate. I met him twice, once in Germany and once in Ireland. So still he is working in the MIT, USA. So he's a pioneer of nanoparticle-based drug delivery system. There is another system, is the stem cell, but it is still in the research level. Well, let's come to the again physics. So how physics is dominating in the health and cancer. So what I already mentioned, the physics means is energy, or it is measurement of science. So we deal with the energy. So basically in nature, we find the 4 basic energy sources, or 2, let's say light and magnetic. They are mostly dominated, but we have the ultrasound and magnetic electric or electric energies, and all these physical energies are used in the health sector. So light, they are used for photothermal and photodynamic therapy. Magnetic is used for the magnetic hyperthermia. And I especially work on these 2 therapies, so light and magnetic. And we have recently combined these together. I will come to the end, how we combined and how we achieved something new from others. So this light has, I already mentioned it, we use only a visible and near infrared spectrum. Now let's come to the again what light we are using. So I already, in my last slide, I show that light has an energy, light has electromagnetic radiation, light has a wave, and it has to matter. So what we use, especially in health sector, so we use the energy and electromagnetic radiation part of the light. So we generally don't use the wave nature, especially the what other, but we more focus on we use more on the electromagnetic radiation and energy part of the light, because it is more useful than the wave. Though it is a wave, though it is interacting, but we consider the energy and radiation. How? That's the question. So especially this near infrared light has a high absorption to the living subjects. So especially they can transform from bacteria, they can transform from the leaves of the trees, or they can penetrate to the human body. And when they get penetrated in the human body, we can get the maximum absorption. And this penetration we call the biological window. So near infrared and far infrared. So they have two biological windows that we use. But especially from 600 to or 700 to 1000 nanometer is mostly used for diagnosis purpose, for therapy purpose. And there are many tools are developed by US military. So where we can like night visible cameras, they are especially based on the near infrared light. In theranostics, we use visible light as well, because some materials, they interact with the visible light, but unfortunately we don't have penetration depth, so we need a special instruments or the catheters, so we can go into the human body. Now let's come to the therapeutic part, how these interact, how these materials interact with the light, and then we get a therapy. So very well phenomena is when any photon interact with the material, especially when the material is nanoscale, they generate some materials, they generate the extra oxygen we call the radical species inside the cells. So these radicals are toxic, means they are toxic molecules. And these toxic molecules or chemicals, they can kill the bacteria, they can kill the fungus, they can kill the tumor cells, or they can kill the entire tumor. So this therapy is called the photodynamic therapy. So light in the action, so dynamics means action. While in the second part, light interacts with the material, but during that interaction, light is absorbed and it emits some extra photons or emits in another form of energy, that is the photothermal thermal energy. And then we deal it with the photothermal energy. So thermal means the temperature. So when the temperature is generated due to the absorption of light or the emission of light, this temperature we can use to kill the tumor cells. Especially tumor cells, they are very sensitive to the temperatures. Our normal body temperature is around 37 degrees centigrade. But when we rise this temperature till 42 to 46, tumor cells, they start to die. So they have the phenomena like apoptosis or necrosis, pure biological phenomena, where cells go die automatically or by direct attack. So like suicide. So they do suicide. It's called the apoptosis. And when we kill them, like killing, it is called the necrosis. So light, it is who generated the temperature. They can kill the tumor cells immediately. And that effect is called the photothermal effect. And we work on this photothermal effect. We have designed the device. We have designed many materials for photothermal applications. So what is the basic phenomena behind this photothermal action is that the light or the material who has some ground state energy, under the light, these molecules get excited into some excited state. Excited states are, they have different states in physics. We call metastable states, and due to this we get the laser phenomena and others. But in the same time we get the photofluorescence phenomena, fluorescence phenomena, and this excited state, how when it comes directly to the ground states, then we can get the fluorescence. But when it comes to metastable state, probably we get the photodynamic therapy and photothermal therapy together. This is more, the interaction with the light, with the matter. So materials, especially plasmonic materials, or some non-plasmonic materials also showing the same. So what is the best example? The best example is the gold. So when gold, not our normal gold, when gold is in nanoscale, so from different 5 nanometer to 400 nanometer, so they have different absorption depending on its size. And gold is a very beautiful material because it absorbs the ultraviolet energy, it absorbs the visible energy, and it absorbs the near infrared energy as well. So we can use gold is very, very fancy, beautiful material in health application because it shows all type of properties, absorption, even some functionalization of gold we can do with the magnetic properties as well. So gold is the best example. It is used in the photothermal therapy, even in photodynamic therapy as well, because of its absorption properties. There are some gold is called the plasmonic material because it is absorbing light in the visible range. But there are some non-plasmonic material, some rare earth doped materials. So they can absorb the energy in near infrared, and they generate the photodynamic and photothermal effect as well. Mostly it is a photothermal effect. And this absorption or scattering phenomena are used for the diagnosis purpose, for the therapy purpose in the health sector. There is another very interesting phenomena. It's called the two-photon triggered therapy. So all the last slides, they are more on the single photon, means the single photon are absorbed by the material, and the emitted photon is also single photon. But some materials, they have very interesting properties. They absorb the single photon, but they emit the two photons. And again, these two photons are absorbed by the same material, or might be some different materials, and we can get the emission in different form. And this therapy is being used in brain cancer. It's called the two-photon excitation therapy. It has many drawbacks, but still on research level. And we recently reviewed this therapeutic part of the two-photon in our recent review. Now, how clinical protocols works with these therapies? So I am more or less on the clinical side. So though I am a physicist, I don't have that background, more physics or quantum physics background to explain you all these. But we are more on the clinical side. So we especially know that the properties, these materials have properties, and we more focus on the biology side. Okay, let's come to the biology and focus on that. So we generally avoid the physics part because it's core research. So while in clinical protocols, we have some special materials, liposomes or some gold and iron-based materials are now FDA approved. So we can specially inject into the body, target into the tumor or the infection site, and then under the exposure light, they will give us the photodynamic therapy or they will give us the photothermal therapy, and we can kill the tumor cells. Or this is, the general protocol if light is absorbed by the body. If it does not, then we have to design some special fibers like our endoscope, and then we can target the organ using this fiber endoscope and then deliver the light to the this infected organ. But still it is on clinical trials based. So we have many limitations with the delivering light into the body. And in our daily life, we are getting a sunlight exposure. It is also one photothermal therapy where we are killing many bacteria and viruses on our body, especially when the early morning sunlight, it has very interesting properties to kill bacteria and viruses, while the other sunlight has more UV radiation. So in clinical things, what actually the currently what therapies and their limitation. So PTT means the photothermal therapy has many advantages and many disadvantages, because the most is the limited light penetration in both in photothermal therapy and photodynamic therapy. When we combine these with our conventional therapy like chemotherapy, means guiding the drug, we can get rid from a disadvantage of both chemotherapy and other therapies. And when we combine with the novel immunotherapy, means triggering our own immune system using some drugs or the physical energies. We can get 100% efficiency, and this is still again on research or in clinical trials. Probably next 5 years we'll witness some technologies in the market, like our MRI or like our CT scan. We'll see some light active instruments where we get exposure and we can kill the tumor or the infections. Very recent example, this is our collaborator from USA. They designed very specific catheter or the endoscope, and they guided the light into the liver. So they used a very small optical fiber, and they guided the laser light, near infrared laser light, to the liver, and they targeted the gold nanorods into the tumor. These very small gold nanorods into the tumor. So they have drug and everything. And under the light, they kill the tumor cells, especially liver tumor cells. This is very interesting. And we are also working on such a therapy for breast cancer and now on the brain cancer. So this is on research level, research side. Probably next 5 years, we'll see some catheters or endoscope where we can guide the laser into the tumor, especially the tumors which are not accessible for surgery, like liver, kidney, or lung. Brain, sometimes they are not accessible for surgeries. Targeted photothermal therapy is the new generation of the photonics and health. So many scientists, they have designed very small endoscope where even we can guide the light and materials together. So we can send the materials using the same optical fiber and the light. So these light and the materials can be used for the photothermal and photodynamic therapy, and they can be used to kill the tumor within the body. So this is a recent example how researchers have killed the tumor in the animals. Actually, we have doing the same, but unfortunately, this is our recent data that we have just submitted for file for patent. So I did not include it in our current this presentation because it will be online. We will have many issues during the patent. But we have designed a similar kind of optical endoscope to guide the light and the material into the breast tumor of animals. So I just explained about the 2-photon therapy. Now 2-photon therapy also used to diagnose the tumor, brain tumor, even not only for just cancer, but this is used to guide our blood veins and ventricles to see there is any checkup or any issues. In medical field, it is called the thrombosis, where our brain veins get stuck and we get a heart attack or we get a brain damage, immediate brain damage. So we can use this light and materials interaction to find out these checkups or the defects in our brain. This all about the therapeutic part, but the new generation with the photonics, you will see in next 5 years, there are many other applications based on the photonics. So like on the LED or the interaction of this direct light with our health, our skin. So there will be many devices that can be on our skin. And so we can monitor, like our smartwatch, we can monitor our blood pressure using just a light. Or we can monitor our diabetes, we can monitor our heart beats, we can monitor our sugar level without any other devices. It's just kind of a artificial skin under the light, and this will have some photonic devices. So in future, the light will be used to control the cardiac attacks, diabetic therapy, cancer therapy, even neuronal behavior, Alzheimer, where we lost our memories. So all will be dominated. These all health sector will be dominated with the photonics. And this is a recent review in Nature material. So where they explain the future of the photonics. So we will have many other devices like our contact lenses. We can now scientists they made artificial eye in the laboratory where all photonic devices integrated together. So probably we will have some artificial eyes in your future. We have some masks that's for the lead mask for especially for disinfection, infrared cameras for watching something behind the current limitation. So photonics will be dominated in future. So what we are doing. So I will come to our research, what we are doing with the photonics and how we are interacting. So this is recently we have finished this project with the help of European Commission, where we designed the photo means light and magnetic stimulated materials, and we made a very interesting discovery innovation for breast cancer therapy. So this we did in the institute, Wrocław University of Science and Technology in Poland. It is one of the top university in Poland, engineering university. So they have, I worked in again with the help of Center Technology, and we designed the therapy. So what we did, we focus on the breast cancer therapy because breast cancer is the most dominated in women, and they have more heterogeneous, means even in single breast tumor have more than 10 different type of cells, and their biology pathology is different. And we need a cure for that. So across the globe, every year, 2 million people have get diagnosed with the breast cancer. So just in the whole year, we have 1 million diagnosed with the coronavirus, but we have more than 2 million diagnosed just breast cancer. So all about, forget about the others. So how dangerous it is. And the market. So breast cancer has a huge market in the USA, in the Europe and Asian countries. Now India is also dominated. Many women, they are getting breast cancer in their age around 40 to 60. And Asia is next target of breast cancer, along with colon cancer and prostate cancer. I will just come to the very simple video. What about breast cancer and what type of therapy we design. So it is a video designed by another university guy, but the similar type of work we do. So we target the material into the breast tumor, and using the external light, we excite this material into the cells. So these are nanoparticles and the laser. So interaction with this photon with the nanoparticles, we kill the tumor cells, and we kill the a whole tumor in very short period of time, even within half an hour or let's say 1 or 2 cycles of the therapy. What we designed, very simple instrument. Using the engineering, we have designed very small laser device. It is a portable, so we can bring this whole laser system from one country to another country. And very small optical fiber device which can be guided into the human body. So it can generate the heat. We can monitor using some special thermal camera and how it generates the thermal effect. So very interesting electronic and computer engineering. We have made the photonic device. And with the help of nanomedicine, we came to the therapeutic part of the breast cancer. So what we did, we targeted the breast cancer cells in the animals or in the labs, and we excited it with the light, not only light, but we used the magnetic energy as well. But I not included the magnetic part, which is not the which is beyond today's uh, uh, core subject. But while we use the light to trigger system, a nano system, which has the plasmonic cell like gold and magnetic metal, and they kill the tumor cells in the laboratory level. We kill it is in the animals, but it is again the issue of the patent, so not included here. So it is one part where we focused on the cancer, but in second part, we are also focused on the infectious diseases. So infectious diseases are due to the bacteria. So what we have designed very special nano capsule using the gold nanorods, very small, around 50 nanometer gold nanorods. They are functionalized with polymer or even curcumin, means our turmeric. We have used DNA materials and others to target them in a very specific way. We found that these materials have absorption in visible spectrum and even in near infrared or far infrared. So we have very interesting absorption properties by these materials. So we can use in the visible and near infrared. And they generated the heat under the visible light and near infrared light. So we are more focused on the near infrared because it is penetrated through the body. So these materials have penetrated in the body and they generated the heat. And they kill the bacteria within 13 minutes of time. So these bacteria are not normal bacteria. They are very specific drug resistance bacteria that can found in the hospitals. So you will be surprised during the first wave of the coronavirus across the Europe and in even India, many patients died with this kind of bacteria, not with the coronavirus, because many hospitals, they are source of such bacteria. Or many hospitals, they already have some bacteria in the hospitals. Many hospitals, they are contaminated with these bacteria. And these are drug resistance, means we are already have overdosed with the antibiotics. And so we can't cure now these bacteria with our antibiotics. And that's why they are dominating. So when some patients get admitted in hospitals, regardless of their core disease, these bacteria are attacking on them, and people are getting sepsis or infectious diseases, and they're getting died. So now we are focused on the curing such infectious diseases, hospital-acquired infections, we call. And these are recently published in a journal. We have now designing the innovation on this. Now this is our work, how we are dealing with photonics and nanomedicine together to cure cancer and infectious diseases. Now what is about the market of the photonics? So global market is very high, and we have very high chances to be in the photonics for research and technology development. Even I work in Oxford. We are designing a spin-off, which is more or less a photonic company. Global market is very high, but more of all Chinese, American, Korean company, German companies are dominated, Japanese, and they are generating revenues. Unfortunately, India is far behind in photonics. We are still in the electronic area or era, and we have to focus on the photonics. Now let's come to what we need, what expertise we need for such kind of research and technology development. So I will start with my own example. We need an interdisciplinary researcher in such a field. So who has expert in physics, expertise in chemistry, expertise in biology as well, or even expertise in medicine. So medicine is more difficult to be, and overall it is interdisciplinary. So people, those who are working in the photonics and the health, they need expertise in physics because it is overall physics. But when we bridge the physics with the biology, the bridge is chemistry. We have to cross the chemistry bridge to go into biology, and we have to cross the chemistry and biology to go into the medicine. So the physicist has to learn the chemistry, biology, and medicine, and it is quite difficult. It's very difficult to understand the biological term for physicists. Like the medicine people, they can't understand the quantum physics term. The physics people can't understand the medicine terms, and it is quite difficult. And that's why India is lagging behind in the photonics research in health, because we don't have expertise. So I'll start with my own experience, how I transferred from physics to biology. So it's all about my basic education. It is just a 12 science in physics, chemistry, biology. In BSc, I have a core physics subject without chemistry and biology, MSc in physics, PhD more or less on nanobiotechnology. While transferring from this physics to biology, let's see my mark sheet in 10th. So I have just a normal score in just 70% with a normal score in science or mathematics and languages. While in 12th, I have all subjects, but I have very specific score in maths and chemistry. And I did not learn chemistry till after the 12th science. But I did not have interest in the biology, but I had highest score in biology. But what happens during my BSc and MSc? So while in my BSc or in MSc, I'm in pure physics, PhD in biology and chemistry interface, but I never learned chemistry and biology during my BSc. So almost I learned pure physics, mathematics, statistics, and electronics during my BSc and MSc, and not biology. But while in PhD, I learned biology, chemistry again. And when I went to abroad for my first job was in the medicine, School of Medicine. So it was a Samsung Biomedical Research Center, where I worked on the cancer and bacterial infection. So I worked in core biology lab or medicine lab, more on cancer and bacteria. So I learned what is a cancer, even protein purification, bacterial handling, cancer cell handling, which is quite difficult for physicists or material scientists. While in my second job, I worked in the Department of Physics, but I worked again in the interface of cancer and bacterial infections. So sometime I was in Germany and sometime in Ireland in 3 years of span. While during my next job in the European Commission Marie Curie Fellowship in Poland, so it is in biomedical engineering, but I learned cancer and animal experiments. So here I transferred from biology to medicine. And in Oxford, what I'm doing? In Oxford, actually, I'm doing more or less on the cancer and animal studies and device design. So almost transferred from physics to biology to chemistry and to the medicine. So here, what we are designing Oxford, in the Oxford, we are designing some materials which has plasmonic materials. We are designing a very specific camera or device which can, diagnose the brain tumor during our surgeries. And this is, we are on technological part. So we are more on physics and medicine part, bridging the gap between physics and medicine. So what success we got in the interface. So I would say I'm really happy with that. Even I transformed from physics to biology, and still I learn physics every day, but work on biology. So we have books, we have patent, we have innovation, we have papers and everything. And we have fund as well. So money is most important. So even in my 7 years of career, we have got too much when we deal with the interface on physics and biology, especially interface or the physics, we use the magnetic and light. Recently, we got this award. It is the Innovation Radar. Here we developed the breast cancer therapy for very specific and very precision way. And this was awarded just 1 month ago. There will be one documentary. This just recently shooted in the Oxford and in Poland. So this will be broadcasted this month on 23rd of November across the globe. about our research, and definitely I will share with the coordinator of the Professor Yadav sir, and they will share with you about what we developed. There you will understand what we design, what we developed using the physics and biology or chemistry in the medicine. So we have, huge market and commercialization opportunities for photonics in nanomaterial. Recently, we worked with the commercialization team in Poland to commercialize basic research into the science, and with the technology transfer offices. We have technology transfer or innovation transfer team. We are commercializing basic science into the technology. Just publishing papers in the fancy journals, high impact factor doesn't mean now. We need to be innovate. We need to be transfer basic science into the technology in short time, and short span of duration and with less money. So we have commercialized a team. We have framework. So we have designed our own framework, and during our award, why we get this award, because we have designed our framework plan for this photonics and nanomedicine. So we have our team in Poland. We have now establishing our team in Oxford, and I'm establishing one company in Pune as well. So just recently we got approval from Ministry of Company Form and Affairs. So we'll be registering our next in India. So these are our scientific collaborators during all our work. So we have collaborators from Ireland. These are actually pioneer, Professor Profel Said, who actually innovated me. We have a group from Switzerland, Brigitta, where we did the experiments on animals, not on rats, but we did experiments on rabbits, on dogs. We have a group from USA. We have a group from India as well. And I'm lucky that my senior Professor Pawar is today here in the presentation, who is my colleague during my PhD in D.Y. Patil. And still I am working with many Indian universities. Even we are working with some doing animal trials in Manipal University and in Vellore Institute. Now at the end, one thing I miss, and you all are excited to know about when from my first slide, that when I was in Oxford, so what is the status of the vaccine? Because you are all eager to know about the vaccine. So I would say vaccine will be coming in next year in India, and at the end of this year in UK. So it already passed almost all trials in UK. Even here in Oxford, we have a hospital where trials are ongoing. I came here just joined in the September, so the trials were finished in August. So I didn't register here, but all now trials finished in Oxford, and many other trials, almost all trials in the UK has done, and they are recruiting more 50,000 patients in US, Brazil, Kenya, India, and many other European countries. So I'm not so expert in this vaccinology, but I work in the same department. So every week we are getting seminars by a vaccine team. So the current last week update is that we would say 3 vaccines will be marketed in next year. Oxford vaccine, there will be Moderna vaccine, and there will be one Pfizer vaccine they see developed by the German researcher. So at the end, thank you very much for your listening. And with this brief, I would say, I would request you to translate your interdisciplinary skill to the human being or the benefit of human being. So thank you very much, coordinator and all audience. And we have around 15 minutes, so I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nanasaheb, sir. Dear participants, if you have any queries, questions, you can raise your hand And unmute yourself and you can ask questions to Dr. Nana Sahib. Nana Shejwal sir, please ask your question.
Hello, I am
Ask.
Dr. Sejwal from. Sir,
Yes, sir,
you
please.
design. Hello.
Sir, please.
Sir, you designed one laser.
Yes.
Which type of material is used to design that laser, and how the output is get modulated as per the healthcare application?
I'm sorry, I'm not the expert in laser device. This is designed with the help of our electronics engineer department. But we have given them our requirements, like what we need. So we need non-harmful laser, low power laser. So for health application. So this laser has a emitting light visible to near infrared. So we are more on the 800 nanometer. And it has around, we can go around 1 to 2 milliwatt of power. This laser is specially to guide the light into the tumor, and where we can excite the nanomaterials to kill the tumor cells using the photothermal effect. This is a portable, so I saw in the, so this is more very small scale. So this is just one instrument that we succeed to get it. And our team is working, the electronic engineer team in Poland is working to design more. While in Oxford, we are adding one more part like diagnosis, Raman spectroscopy with the same laser. So this is very tricky part. So our laser department or the photonics department in your Oxford, they are now designing another instrument where we combine the Raman and our normal laser, because Raman laser has a different properties. I hope this
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Neha ma'am, you can ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon to all of you. Sir, you shared lots of interesting and useful information regarding these therapies. Sir, my question is that, as you said, that second wave of cancer always occurs. Then my question is, can these therapies, PTT and PDT, be useful to eliminate this second wave effect or not?
Yeah. So this is actually what we are dealing. So second wave means cancer. When we treat somewhere cancer, let's say cancer in the breast or cancer in the somewhere in the liver or lung, they go into the blood and they spread somewhere in kidney, they spread somewhere in our bones, and they grow slowly. But we can't diagnose them, and we just cure the liver cancer or breast cancer 100%, and then we realize, okay, cancer is gone. But it is somewhere in growing hiddenly somewhere in the body, and that we call the second wave. This phenomenon is called the metastasis, where the second, it is around the fourth stage of the cancer. So our technologies is specially designed for such a treatment. So in first stage, we can use the normal radiotherapy or chemotherapy. Even we would like to bypass the chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is more dangerous because it is not very targeted. So our therapies are these photothermal or photodynamic therapies. They are for both, like for first wave, means for first stage of cancer, or there are some chances in second stage in metastasis, means somewhere in kidney or somewhere in the bones or somewhere in other part of the body. Yeah, so it is for both.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Dr. Shehzad, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Dr. Shehzad, you are not audible.
Hello.
Dr. Shehzad. Yes, you are audible.
in India, normally we are using electron beam for cancer therapy and photon, that is X-rays, we are using normally cobalt 60 and cesium 137. And sir, I want to ask, the energy of these rays are in mega electron volts. So these energies are very high, but in case of the visible gases, these are very small. So one question about the energy. And my second question is, what are the of these tech? Whether it is useful or any they are harmful in the human body?
I'm sorry, I didn't audio hear somewhat. So will you just repeat your second part of the question?
Yes, sir. Is there any drawback in this therapy? Like in
Yeah.
normal X-ray therapy?
Yes, of
and
course. Yeah. Every technology has their pros and cons. So they have advantage, they have drawbacks. So these light therapies, the first drawback, they are not, penetrating in the body like the our gamma rays or the high electronic beams. They are penetrating because of their energy. The light is visible or near infrared. They are very, very small energy scales. This is one drawback. Another drawback is when they have less penetration, then we have to be specific guidance system. So we need a specific optical fiber devices or devices which can be guided, which can be focused to a specific region. The current therapies like radiotherapy or the LINAC that is used or these cobalt-based therapies, they are specific because they have very high energetic and the technology is more evolved. The photonic technology is not that much evolved to focus in a specific organ like brain, which is almost difficult to guide or to penetrate the brain, the light penetration. So the next, actually, the very interesting research area to design such devices to get rid from these drawbacks, which is non-targeting of the light into the body. So designing optical fibers or some instruments which can, or some materials when they go into the body and they will generate the light. So people are, researchers are doing such materials. When they go into the body, they will generate the light. So we don't need to be an external source of light. They might generate the light in near infrared or visible light. So this is another solution, but these materials are inorganic materials, so they have their toxicity, biocompatibility, and very difficult to manage their interface with the human body.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Firdaus Khan, please ask your question.
Hello, sir. First, I would like to thank Dr. Thorat sir for this excellent presentation. Sir, I have a question that what is the range of the energy of the photon or laser that could be used on the human body?
The energy.
Yes, sir.
Energy. Yeah, I mentioned it is more in near infrared light. So we know the energy of infrared band or the energy of the visible band. So I'm not specific to the specific, but in health sector, we use the power. So like milliwatt or watt. So watt is very high, but we use the very few milliwatt for excitation and emission. I'm not so expert in the physics, so I don't know exact the energy terms for laser or photons, but we more focus on the power. So we always, use the how much power we can be go, or beyond that we can't use like a threshold.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Poonam Lata Yadav, madam, please ask your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Sir, as you said, breast cancer patient increasing. So I want to know, there is any method or technique by using that we can prevent to be a breast cancer patient?
Prevention means it's not just using the technology. Prevention is depend on the breast cancer has one drawback. It is a hereditary. So 10% of breast cancers patients, they have the family history, like their grandmother has breast cancer. So and the 90% patients have due to their some, like in modern world, many women, they don't do the breastfeeding after the delivery. So this is one of the reasons of getting breast cancer in their elderly age after 50 or 60. But in India, it is because of our food, it is because of our environment, our lifestyle, everything. So to control the breast cancer, we have to, control our food, we have to control our daily life cycle, and many things. This is all about the controlling. We work on when we can't control the cancer using these technologies. We can diagnose it. When somebody has cancer in early stage, let's say in first stage, where some cancer cells are growing somewhere in the breast or somewhere in blood. So we can diagnose with using the light. So now mammography is used for diagnosis, but it is in later stage. So some laser devices are being designed to identify the properties of the normal cells and breast tumor cells. So that can be, and therapeutic parts I explained or I mentioned about the photothermal or the photodynamic, because breast tumor is accessible from outside. So what we design in our recent innovation, we access this breast tumor from outside using the near infrared. And even we may design the optical fiber, so we can guide inside tumor. But your question is controlling the breast cancer with this technology. So we can't control it. We can diagnose, we can control is the different part. So this is all about our daily life.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
So for cervical cancer, there is a vaccine, I think.
Sir,
same as I think.
Yeah, so there are some vaccines are being developed for cancer, but it's quite difficult to develop a cancer vaccine, because vaccines are mostly for those who are get infected by bacteria or viruses, where cancer is not due to that. Cancer is growing within our body. It is not attacked from outside of our body. So our immunity can't recognize. For vaccine, we need the recognition by our immunity. So there are some vaccines are developed for cancer, but they are not so effective. Even some vaccines are generating cancer. So I'll give that one example. The vaccine of HIV. So HIV vaccine project started from 1980 till 2010. They get succeed, but later they discovered that, okay, due to this HIV vaccine, some people are getting cancer. So that project was stopped. So vaccines are always dangerous. So even I don't want to give you fear or something in mind about the corona vaccine, but why it is going slowly? Because they have many side effects. When vaccine get inserted in our body, they are foreign bodies for our body. So in later or long-term side effects are maybe some diseases, some autoimmune diseases, some cancers. But probably we'll get some vaccines for some cancers. You told, like for cervical cancer, or probably for breast cancer in future.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Bharti Patil, madam, please ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello,
you are audible.
Sir, thank you very much for the nice and valuable presentation over cancer and photonics. Sir, I wish to ask one question that how you come to know that the animal that you have selected is having cancer? Are they are having cancer naturally or you are introducing cancer cell in them? Because it's difficult to find such animal with cancer.
Yeah, it's a great question actually, and this is the real problem in the current cancer research. So, what we researchers do in cancer therapies or in lab, so they induce the cancer to mice or rats. Induction means we can, just insert cancer cells in the mice, and after 14 days or sometime, the cancer is growing in the mice. Or we can induce some drugs, carcinogenic, we call carcinogenesis drugs. So they can generate the tumor in the body. So this is the overall scenario in the cancer research. And then we use these animals for testing. But what is the drawback of this system is that the cancer that induced has the homogeneous, means what the tumor has the same property all over the from surface to the their depth. There are some animals, they naturally get cancer. So which are these animals? Especially dogs. We don't know, but dogs, they naturally get cancer. Many dogs, even our pet dogs, and even our dogs in India, but we are not aware about, this veterinary science. But in European or other developed nations, they are more worried about this. So dogs, they have cancers. We worked with the hospital in Zurich, in Switzerland, animal hospital, and you will be surprised that animal hospital has a very high level of technologies or instrumentation. So like they have the animal MRIs for horses, they have animal CT scans for horses. And the animal hospital was one of the best in the world because they make a treatment or trials or what we do there, it's directly approved for human. That is called the GLP accredited hospital, good lab practice. So I have been there many times, and we found there are we get many dogs as a cancer patients, and we treated with these therapies. Unfortunately, not a single hospital in India which is as up to that standard. And it's our policies because we are more focused on the animal side, while we do all research trials on the we more focused on the human, while all trials we do on the animals. But we don't have that kind of hospital in our country where we can do the up-to-date trials. So this is all about bureaucratics, but we need such a hospital where we can get natural patient. In medical, it is called the canine patient who has already cancers.
Okay, thank you very much.
So that's why our technology is different. We didn't treat the patients or just induced the mice or rats in the lab. We treated the natural patient because natural tumor has a single tumor has 100 different type of properties. So single therapy always get failed, like our drugs. When chemotherapy is not a single drug. So doctor, they give a protocol. So means they combine more than 3-5 drugs together because this tumor is heterogeneous, different type of cells. So one cell might be killed by one drug, but another not. So we need a combination.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Kamlakar, sir, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think this is a nice presentation, and we are the people from physics and electronics side. We don't have the knowledge about this medical science, which is related with the physics. That you are giving a very best idea about that. How physicists can work as a mediciner or medicine. So with this, I have a very small question, sir. Is there any role of immunity power of human body against the cancer?
Of course, immunity is the major role. So those have very high immunity power. So immunity, what is meant by immunity? So we have very misunderstanding about immunity. Immunity is we call it is immunity power, but it is not immunity power. Immunity is a system. So it is kind of a drainage system. So what drainage system or our system, the daily people who collect our drainage or the material from our home. So they clean. So immunity is a cleaner. So they recognize something from foreign body, like bacteria, viruses. They are foreign bodies. So they recognize them. And what they do, they don't kill them. They throw out it from our body. So they don't kill them. They says, okay, you are not for our body. You have to go from the outside body. You have to go from the body. You have to grow from here. So this is immunity, what they were. While cancer is not coming from outside. It is growing within our body. So immunity can't understand what is happening there. Immunity, they have their memories, they have everything. So what the immunity understand? Okay, something is growing in our body. So it is might be organ, it is might be something in our body. It is not foreign body, and that's the more difficulty, because immunity can't understand, recognize these cells. There are some cells we call the T cells, or in biology many other terminology. So they can recognize these cells, but they don't have system to throw out. So now scientists are using such cells to throw out these early grown tumor cells. While these bacteria, viruses, they are coming from outside, so immunity can easily recognize and they can throw out. So why they can't recognize the coronavirus? Because coronavirus means virus with a corona, and corona is with the protein, made up of with the protein, and that protein has very, very, very interesting properties that our immunity system can't recognize. Is it really a foreign body, or it is a protein that daily we are eating our food and it is converted into protein? So might be immunity is recognizing, okay, it is normal protein, and that's why these viruses are sustaining a long time in our body. Small children's, actually their immunity is growing very fast and very active, and their immunity memory is very high. That's why small children's, they are not vulnerable to the coronavirus. So in UK here, children's schools are open, so they are not closed. So even my 3-year child started to go school from yesterday. So schools are open, and scientists believe that children will not get affected coronavirus like elderly people, because their immunity is very weak. Immunity, they don't have memory there to recognize these foreign bodies or to sustain for long. Children have very high memory, very high power. So immunity is playing for every disease, not only for viral infection or cancer, but it is for every disease. Immunity is playing major role.
But children can be a carrier, sir.
Children can be a carrier for, yeah, older people. Yeah, definitely. Like younger people are carrier. They don't see the symptoms, but they are carriers. So similarly, children is a carrier, definitely.
Any more questions? Dear participants, if there are no questions, I request one of our participants, Dr. Sambhaji Pawar from Siangad College of Engineering, Pune, to propose vote of thanks. Dr. Sambhaji Pawar, please unmute yourself and propose the vote of thanks. Dr. Sambhaji Pawar.
Hello, I am audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Now, good evening, all of you. Thank you, sir, for delivering. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Good evening, all of you, and thank you, Dr. Thorat sir, for delivering such a nice lecture on photonics and its application in the field of medical sciences. Initially, Dr. Thorat sir nicely explained about various opportunities and explored the things that are developing interdisciplinary. Furthermore, he explained the interaction of infrared radiation and its application to kill bacteria and to kill cancer by application to the therapeutic and diagnostic purpose. Also, he given brief idea of thermo-responsive cancer cell and photothermal curing of cancer. In his further explanation, he explained about the role of nanobiomedicine and its clinical limitations and challenges. Current status of immunotherapy with phototherapy to overcome the disadvantages of chemo and radiation therapy. Guided phototherapy to avoid immediate brain damage. Also, he put some light on health monitoring system by using the photonics, like a digital watch on the hand or in the hand. He explained nicely about his work that is laser device and used to cure the breast cancer. In the second part of his work, he given information about near infrared and its application to hospital acquiring infectious diseases. And also at the part of end, he explained what is the need of interdisciplinary peoples to grow the or to overcome the medical problem in the society. And in this way, he nicely explained, and I guaranteed that Dr. Thorat, your lecture will be definitely beneficial to our researcher and faculty that will go in the proper direction to develop a better society. Thank you once again.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much
sir.
for such